It is 6 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Utility Commission to order. Roll has been taken. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Cheryl, second by Bart. Approve the agenda. Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Cheryl, second by Ross to approve the minutes of the previous meetings. Any questions or anything? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public appearances, let the record state there are none. Monthly business. Approve the vouchers and the checks.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Bart to approve the checks and vouchers. Any questions at all? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Prior month income statement. Any questions on all, on the income statement? If not, we will move on. Council acts affecting utility. Resolution 74, 2022 approves sewer rates. Consumption and loss.
Rain way too much.
I don't even think it's this, I think this next month's gonna be bad. Next month is gonna be
No, that's what I'm saying, it's been raining too much.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll stop and the rest of the month will be better.
It hasn't, frankly, we got that first batch of rain and it barely slowed down since then and now it picked back up again. It's been bad.
Okay. Delinquent customers. $13 more days.
Yep.
April 20th.
Yeah, we've sent out the 24-hour calls on the 18th on Tuesday and disconnect on Thursday. 20th?
And hopefully
The
that
list is very long, but it always is typical, so
Yeah, well,
basically last minute, so.
they'll start paying here next week.
Yeah, they're slowly coming in now, from what I've heard.
We got a check today for like $1,600 from one person. So we're catching up.
Do the majority of them already come in and make a payment arrangement, or they come in and pay the whole thing?
They haven't been making payment arrangements yet. I think they'll do that once they get the disconnect letter. That's usually how that happens, but there's been a lot that have been catching up and they've come in like every couple of weeks with a couple $100 or $500 or.
Good.
All right, reports of officials. Lori,
Okay, I just want to give you a little update on the scholarships. We did get one applicant in from Dodgeland. I did email out information to Lakeland that you guys had requested I do this year, and I've not gotten any information, so I followed up with another email. Lakeland or Lakeside or?
Lakeside.
The Lutheran school, sorry. I just realized I get those two mixed up. But anyway, I had emailed them again and said I hadn't heard anything, make sure that they got the information. They did, they passed it on to their counselors and still haven't gotten anything from any of those people. And we do have an insert going out in the April bill, or the March bill going out next week. that will have a little thing about scholarships. And we also have an insert going in with the new rates. Once a year, we do put an insert in for all of the rates that we charge for water, sewer, and electric. And so I just updated that sewer with the new rates and just have it be as a one-page deal of all the rates are on there. So the people are getting notified that their rates are going up, but it's not a, hey, we raised your rates. It's just a.
It's not pointing out the change.
Effective, right, it's got sewer rates and it's got effective April 1, 23 and all the new rates. So, but we always send out the rates this time of year anyway, so I just incorporated it all together. And then for the scholarships, we will be having that at next meeting to determine who wins. Being that we only have one applicant, it's not gonna be a real tough decision for you. I don't know if you guys got any other suggestions of how we can, I'm hoping that the insert in the bill will trigger something, but.
I can reach out to, I still have ties at Dodgen from graduating, so I can make a presence that way, I guess, as well. Because that's just sad to me to only see one applicant.
Don't they have counselors anymore, guidance counselors?
They do, and I just,
They're kind of not doing their
because I
job.
remember
Yeah.
getting this, obviously I lived just outside of the community, so I couldn't apply, but I remember seeing it even when I was applying. So, I don't know, something just doesn't seem right, because
Is there any special criteria for it?
we still do the two scholarships, right? One
Yeah.
is specific to the lineman position, and then the other is,
If we have
Public
somebody
power
for
of
alignment.
anybody.
right, if there is one available for lineman, if not, it just gets used for
This general.
but they have to be a utility customer. And before we only advertised it to Dodgen, but with St. John, some of those kids go to. So I don't know. That just seems-
GPA requirement isn't even that stiff,
I
is
think
it?
it's 3, which is
Yeah. Be
very
Yeah.
reasonable.
But shake them up a little.
But this is a normal, we talk about this during our roundtable discussions through WPPI, and this is habitual with other utilities, so
If we used to get a dozen. Crazy.
I'll reach out to them.
And who are you gonna go to, or for that? I mean, not the
think
person, but the school.
I'll reach out to the counselor. I think Fraser will just let, or not Fraser will,
What school are you talking about, those?
Dodgeland.
Dodgeland, oh,
yeah,
Dodgeland.
I have no ties yet.
Okay.
Like so.
I thought you said Badger, that's why it's a question. And then, is there something else we want to consider as far as going to the people that are already in the electrical line, like the electric lineman classes, and see if, can we extend it to that and give it, you know, being that they're in the lineman class already, rather than just a senior in high school?
I guess, I don't know, it's up to you guys, but I can see if there's people on the waiting list that are Juneau Utility customers that I would have access to. Because I know there's kids that graduated from Dodgeland that went into it that didn't apply for the scholarship, so. I don't know. It's your guys' call on that.
I'm just trying to think of different ways that we can get the money out to help people.
Well, I guess as long as they're on our service lines, that's the main thing.
Right, that's what I would think, that the benefit is going to a customer, yeah.
I think they should be secondary to someone just starting out if we had multiple people applying potentially. Because
Right.
we want to encourage our youth to,
Absolutely.
if they're already in it, not to nix somebody that's already in the program, but if we have no one applying,
Well, somebody on the waiting list wouldn't necessarily be in the program yet, so that would be start.
So maybe,
I'll reach out and then we'll go from there. I mean,
We
you guys
only
can
have
decide.
one, and you can do that one the other way to somebody that's in the program.
Right.
Rather see somebody use it that way rather than let it go to waste. Last year, we only had one.
But then we end up just combining the scholarships, don't we?
we had 2 people, or actually 3 or 4, one wasn't
I thought
qualified.
the one year we combined them or something, didn't we?
Not that I'm aware of in the time that I've been here.
No, the last one was
We had-
1,000.
We had 3 last time, but one didn't qualify.
Right,
They weren't in the city. So it was like, well, that's one of the requirements. Hey, an A for effort. We got those in the community that aren't even applying.
okay, so Nick, you can get back to me on that and we can work on trying to spread the word more. Community contributions, I just thought I'd give you an update because there's been talk about wanting to donate to other things. We've got we've got $2,500 from WPPI between community contributions and economic development that we can spend. And we've already done 500 of that for the Pelican Path. So we have about $2,000 that we can have available for donations. That's the money that we get from WPPI, and I believe what we have normally done is match what they contribute.
That's a requirement, actually.
I checked with Eric and he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
That's
it's supposed to be
always been
matching.
That's always what it's been treated,
Yeah.
as a match donation.
Cause
So if you do
I,
1,000, it'll be a 500 from the utility and 500 from the WPPI.
yeah, and I thought that's what I was taught, but I had asked him about it and he said that we didn't have to do that, we could just have them pay for the whole thing.
That's conflicting information, but yeah, no.
That's wrong.
Okay, so it is
Okay.
still a match thing. All right, so if that's the case and they contribute $1,500 to community contributions, then we would have 3,000 because we donate the 1,500 also. And same thing with the economic development, do we match that one also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we would have 2,000 total for that. So we've got $5,000 total.
And that you can either fund it through your CDA or your Juneau Chamber. They have to be the conduit for funding those.
For the economic development. Okay. So yeah, we've got 2,000 for that, 3,000 for the community contributions, which we've spent 500 of.
I know for a possible community contribution, the rec department, I presented them a quote for that lighting, fitness, outside fitness court. I know that cost is gonna be going down, probably around $900 because we're gonna be taking those poles down on Eastville to the dead end. And those are really good poles as far as condition wise. A new pole nowadays is $900. So we could save about $900 off of that estimate. So I think, I don't know, in my mind, contributions, obviously we still want to be donating to, copper shops and donations like that, but I think this is also a good avenue for these funds to be trickling back into the community, and this is one way to do that as well. So I can certainly update that estimate to see what that cost brings it down to. I don't have it in front of me, I wish I would have printed it off, but it's gonna come down roughly about $900, which, if I'm not mistaken, total cost like $3,700. So take roughly $1,000 off of that, $2,700. Seems a lot, but we have to cut out concrete by the pavilion, run conduit, come out of the existing panel, trench over. So there's a lot of work involved, but at least you have the cost of the pole coming off of that. So just keep that in mind.
It was discussed at finance, and it was determined at that point in time that it would wait until budget this fall, because as far as needing lighting, with summer months being longer, how much lighting do you need? So that was the decision at that point in time.
Just something I wanted to bring up again.
Okay. Anything else, Lori?
I don't think so. Pam's excited about disconnects. She came walking back there today and, Nick, can we do them on the 18th?
Jeez.
She looks forward to it.
Yeah.
And she smiles too when she's just laughing and having a good time. So hey,
Sometimes good to have that kind of person in that position.
you know, but you call and talk to her, you can tell she's got a smile on her face. So I mean, and when I've been here and she's had customers with her, she handles them real well and they leave happy.
Yep, she's,
They leave happy.
Well,
I don't think any of them leave
the
happy.
ones that pay their, yeah. Some of them that, I'm sure there's always somebody that doesn't like
They
it.
might be a little more content, but they ain't leaving happy.
Well,
yeah,
all right.
She's been doing a good job.
So, all right. Nick, you're next.
You're all done?
Yes, I am.
We're continuing to do tree removal on the goose trail by the sample station. I'm sure every time you guys go up there, you're like, holy cow, more trees are down, but they're all dead along that whole bank line there. And like I discussed in last meeting, we've had some blinks on our system and we think that's the culprit that's causing that. So we're continuing to work on that when weather permits, with how we're getting rain and thawing and stuff like that. 508 and 520 South Main Street passed the anti-islanding test for the solar panels. We had a new service installed at 611 East Center Street. This was due to a garage site build that they're doing. They wanted to put a garage right on top of the secondary service, so we had to have that moved. That was a cost that they paid for the relocation. And that was completed last week, Wednesday. New amplifier for Charter is energized on East Oak Street. So we ended up killing that service for the old amplifier, energizing the new amplifier. I got an update that they are splicing over currently. Going up there, it doesn't look like they're splicing over, but I told them they got 3 weeks. Talking to Jason Lau, it sounds like about 4 weeks Soper will be back to be working on East Oak to the dead end. So I told them, I said I'd like to have it done in 3 weeks so that we have a week to get our poles done and all the overhead wires and equipment that are up there now. We had a new meter installed at the wastewater treatment plant tower, so we must have a new customer out there. But they were looking for how long? So there's 2 meters up there now instead of just the one for how long. We have new LEDs completed on Highway 26, so entire Highway 26 LED conversion is complete. With that, we also did Home Road. There's a few on Home Road, but that comes out the same circuit. So we did those as well. And we finished East Oak Grove Street. We had to stop at Highland Street because we completed that circuit that came out of the post office. So now we have it completed going east out of town. That was about 36 LED streetlights. With the budget, I had budgeted for $18,000 for LED conversions. I've utilized about $11,000 so far, so we'll do a few more, probably pick one more street, depending on cost, obviously, and how many fixtures are on that road. But I'd like to get one more main street, probably with the cost. It'll probably end up being west-north, so W going past your place and your place. It just depends on how many streetlight fixtures I need and figuring out the cost. They're constantly changing with equipment nowadays. So we had a few metering failures that ended up not being failures. They just needed to be communicated with our handheld, which then ended up freeing up the communication technical difficulty that it was having. We assisted the water department with one meter that ended up not being able to finalize because the radio that we use for programming the waters, the battery failed. So I had to order a battery that's still not here. Once that's completed, I'll go out and help those guys finalize that last one. We had job site training in Houstonburg through MUW. We went out and changed a cross arm on a transmission underbuild. Everything went good. We had 2 service main upgrades that happened in town. Juneau was selected for the scholarship funding through WPPI. I'll be attending the APPA National Conference in Seattle. Because of COVID, I didn't get to go to the last one. So I'll be attending the national conference this time. There's a MEW directors meeting coming up in May in Green Bay. I'll be attending that as well. And Mac and I will be attending the board of directors meeting, WPPI, this month, 19th or something like that.
25th.
I don't know, something like that.
25th. I think.
Towards the end of April. Something that didn't make it on the agenda because I got pricing at noon today, but I'm going to address now. I don't know if we can do a consensus agreement, but this refers to that substation reclosers that were that failed in the industrial substation. We currently have Eaton Form 4D reclosers. They are obsolete, and Eaton will no longer provide support to those reclosers. Go figure. So I spoke with AC Engineering to figure out what kind of options we have, and we could go another Eaton brand, which is $8,000, where this is now the second time where they haven't provided good support for things like this. Or we can change brands and go to a Schweitzer recloser that provides a lifetime warranty on their equipment for $2,000 less per recloser. So it comes out to be about $6,112.77. I had an AC Engineering take a look at the other 2 reclosers, and they are showing signs of failure. He recommends that we change all 3 out, not only for the anticipation of the failure happening and then the no support, but also to eliminate any type of confusion with having multiple brands of equipment in the substation, since the reclosers are important to accidentally tripping reclosers out, putting them in safety hotline tags, having the same settings as far as our operations go with faults on the system. That total cost would be $18,338.31 for 3 reclosers. With AC Engineering installing, the final cost would be around $20,000. Obviously, this is an unbudgeted item, so I did sit down with Lori to go over some financing options as far as what we can do. The electric department currently has $1.9 million cash on hand. We're expecting $318,798 increased cash on hand for 2023 and year-end 2023. With our current first 2 months, that is the projected year-end cash on hand increase. If we were to use cash on hand to purchase this, it would decrease the cash increase to $298,798. I know this isn't a place we can vote on it because it's not on the agenda, but I don't know if we could do some kind of consensus agreement so I can get these on order, because lead times are long, and we do an official vote on this next month. Because the purchase wouldn't happen this month, obviously, with the lead times. It would happen probably in 3 months, 4 months.
What have you heard about these lifetime warranty ones?
So I talked at job site training. Houstonburg has them on their system, and Todd says that their lifetime warranty is legit. It's been 12 years since they've had theirs in place on 3 of them, and they came out and replaced parts on them, fully serviced them. I've never heard of anything like that with a lifetime
Have they-
warranty.
have
And they
they
don't
got-
charge, no charge on, they send a guy out, they never seen a bill.
But have they had issues?
No,
with them?
so I talked to Forrester, this is what upset me, is Forrester, this was their recommended recloser. Well, we didn't put in Schweitzer reclosers here or at the north substation that we just did 5 years ago. We got Eaton Cooper reclosers in there. So, I don't know why we originally had these in place to begin with. But AC Engineer recommends Schweitzer. I talked to, he's probably the only people I talked to, because Todd's pretty knowledgeable in that substation equipment, and he lives and breathes the Schweitzer brand. So,
Eustacer's got a lot of rural line too, where you got a lot of tree hits.
right, and they use them for all their downstream reclosures too, those single phase reclosers on the rural. So
How many hits do we have ours set for before they go out on safety?
3.
3.
And we can achieve all the same curves that we currently have. There's more programmable functions that are beyond my knowledge of even ever use as far as our reclosers in our substation, but
I don't know, currently I think Alliance does 5 on theirs, I think, so.
yeah, so everything I've heard, especially from Jason and Todd and the lifetime warranty, it's just, I don't know how you can say no to that. Plus, it's $2,000 cheaper than
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
Eaton Cooper brand. So, but they do have a different look to them, which is why I also agree that if we're gonna do one in that substation, we should do all 3. One, they're
Yeah,
showing the
well, I
signs,
agree with
but
that. I mean, we just you're dealing
the
with.
layout is completely different. They sent me a picture of it so I could put them side by side. The button layouts are completely different. So especially with someone newer that just came from Eustisford and now a new employee, I think it would be just beneficial. Plus, then we also have 2 spares for downtown substation and our north side substation. So, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I know this isn't ideal for the meeting, but I was just curious if we could do some kind of consensus agreement, and then I'll bring it forward towards next month's meeting for official approval. Either way, I was looking at this. It does fall into my normal operations and maintenance. It's things I need to do. So I'm not even really sure if I need to have this fully approved, but obviously with a big purchase like this, I want to bring it forward to you guys. And with our substation equipment fund, we only budget $5,400 a year. And that's basically to cover our inspections that we do at a year-to-year basis and some minor, fixes that we have from time to time.
These reclosures prevent a lot of damage to the
They do,
equipment.
they're important.
It's your safety valve there that trips out before the
They
upper
also-
end starts cooking, so, it only makes sense to get them changed, especially it sounds like you're liquid enough to cover it.
I suppose we can do a consensus, and then next month come back with it, and that allows him to get it into the order. So we would, depending upon how long they take to get here. I mean, everything is crazy. I mean, lead times are 50.
Yeah, I got one more thing to bring up, which it's gonna be hard to swallow too, but yeah. Nothing that's happening this year, but
So, what is your pleasure?
I have a question in regards to, you knew that these needed to be taken out, but you didn't put it on the agenda because you didn't have quotes, is that
yeah, so
the only reason?
I sent a request for an estimate last month after last month's meeting, and they got back to me today at noon. It was too late to amend the agenda.
If it's within your normal maintenance piece that you have to do, I guess in my thinking, you would order them anyway.
Something.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm
I
at.
need it.
It would be,
yes.
you know,
I just-
you might come to us next month anyway and say, hey, this happened, I need your approval at
Right.
this point in
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Granted, when you know you've talked with them, I guess I'm asking you, make sure you get it on here, even if we say, I don't need to talk about this
I
this
just,
week, so.
just something I felt like I needed to bring
Yeah.
up, it's,
I guess I'd say you would order them and then next month we can,
Yeah. That's what I would say.
because we won't get them maybe till summer.
I just wanna see what you guys felt, I don't wanna do anything outside of my, you know, duties, so, but everything I was looking at, it's a pertinent piece to our system, it's protecting
Yeah.
Yep.
our mother load, which is, our mothership, which is the substation transformer, so, I just wanted to bring that up. Okay, I'll move on. Next thing I wanna talk about, it's gonna be presented on next month's agenda, but transformer purchasing for 2024 budget. Typically, we budget $50,000 for transformers, and with pricing, I decided to put a cart together now so that we order soon and get them in 2024. And our normal purchasing went from $50,000 to $100,555. So I just want to give you guys a heads up, there's going to be an adjustment to my budget that's going to follow down the suit. But this is something we'll hopefully discuss and approve for 2024 budget. It just needs to be done now so that I can get them in 2024. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that.
Lead time is still 56 weeks.
56 weeks. The only good thing about it is I did purchase enough transformers pre-COVID that there were no purchases for transformers for this year. So that $50,000 that I budgeted for 2023 won't be used, and we can consider that carried over. That cash on increased cash is obviously going to go up. That $50,000 not utilized, but just want to make you guys aware. That's it. That's all I got.
So, anybody have any questions for Nick? If not, Alex.
We had our pre-construction meeting this last week for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. Talked about basically the main timeline for it and people to call, just different specifics that we went over. So with that being said, a number of things came up pertinent to that. I wish I had more information now. It's on the agenda to approve going the route of natural gas to the wastewater treatment plant. Matt didn't get back to me on any official pricing as far as re-engineering or any inside the fence pricing changes. So I don't have anything I can really say in regards to that.
They were wondering, as you well know, they were wondering about what kind of equipment to order so they could
Right.
switch from LP to natural gas. And
Right.
contractors wanted to know so they could
So
order
it's-
it.
Especially the generator.
Yeah, so it would be good to know if that's for sure the route we want to take, so they can basically order the generator. That being said, there will be price changes involved with re-engineering, different equipment, potentially different plumbing within the building. All those price changes should fall within the loan for the treatment plant in and of itself. We just don't know if it's gonna be a huge adder or not, basically, and then I don't 100% know. We haven't clarified 100% whether or not the price to run natural gas to the plant itself would fall within the loan or not. So that could be up to $125,000 we would have to pay separately. So I don't know if there's a consensus or if we can approve that that's the route we for sure want to take.
Was this considered in the drawings at the beginning? Was it part of our conversation?
No, and that's the problem. Basically, it was, I think it just kind of got dropped between shifting between different supervisors along the way, and
What was the conversation ever had, Alex, with
No.
anybody?
to my knowledge,
Not
no.
necessarily,
No.
did MSA say, hey, what about this?
I would,
or-
I mean, personally, I would have thought it would have been nice if MSA like suggested it, you know, to say, hey, we're doing all this, spending all this money and getting all this equipment, would you consider doing it along the way? But they just kinda said, this is what you got, this is what we'll give you.
What's the benefit of going natural gas versus propane?
Cost, yeah.
And the consensus I got from that meeting too is that generator costs and plumbing costs would actually decrease.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it should, generally, natural gas is
Yeah.
cheaper.
So
Yeah.
there would be a savings, I don't know to what extent.
Probably not enough to
Not
cover the gas line.
$125,000,
Not
no.
enough to cover the gas line, but it's still, it should be cheaper over the long
Right.
term buying natural
Right.
gas
Well,
versus propane.
For me too, it's the constant, you know,
And
fuel
then,
source.
well, we gotta get rid of the, and then you
Right.
get rid of the maintenance of the tank and everything
Right.
that you gotta deal with
And
with
I don't
that.
know if we can, we own that tank, correct?
Correct, from what
So
we
I
heard.
don't know if we can put it to auction, get something for it. I don't know the rules around that, but
Depending on the condition, sometimes those LP providers will purchase them from customers.
Right.
Because then they just refurbish them and turn around and sell them.
yeah, so either a provider could do that, or if we have to go through surplus auction or however, we
You
can
probably
make some
got-
money back.
You probably got larger gas pipe running throughout the plant going natural than what you did with liquid, even though they're running probably 2.5 pound delivery versus quarter pound. You still gotta have a bigger pipe.
Yeah, so they probably have to replumb
Yeah.
a lot of the building
But
in that sense, but.
Everything you said is absolutely true. Everything I have, my experience is if you got a unit heater, a modine, it's usually an add-on for LP versus natural. You know, you usually have to pay more for LP than you do natural. And that's always been my understanding with the generators too, but that might have changed since COVID too, so I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know if we can basically approve that that's the route we want to take and to tell them to
I can get a hold of Matt
further.
tomorrow and
Yeah, I told him I wanted some kind of number by today, but he didn't get it to me, so.
There's not much potential for customers to add on there, but they only give us 7 years, doesn't it? That's the way it used to be, 7 years to hook on, and we get some of our investment back. But there's not a whole lot, counting on one hand how many customers you got along the way there, I guess, so. I mean, most people usually jump at they did all of Oak Grove proper down there, and most of those people, and they had to lay out like $2,200 in order to tie on, so, you know, but most people jump right on board because of the fact, like, at least they know where they're at from month to month. They know they don't have to plan for buying LP and hoping the costs don't go up. And I don't, preaching to Nick, I'm sure he knows what that's all about, but.
so, I mean, they wanted, that was what they were really, all of them,
The
the
most
contractors
concerned
were,
with
yeah.
getting the equipment ordered with the right deal, well,
Yeah.
basically the generator. So the rest of them are just a conversion.
But we can put that on for next month.
And it used to be, Cheryl, to answer your question, it used to be, I don't know how it is with current prices, but the rule of thumb was you usually save 12 to 15% LP over, or natural over LP.
My discouragement right now is that MSA knows about both of these options. And here we are again,
Now,
coming back and saying, how come they didn't present this even as an option? Granted, why didn't I think of it? Well, personally,
Didn't you?
I
I
don't
thought
roll
that there
into
was-
that
didn't you sit in on that meeting, Cheryl, out at the treatment plant?
part of it.
Okay. Geez, for some
I
reason,
thought
I
that
thought they
we-
bounced that off of us there, you know, back then. I think it
I
was
wasn't there for
considered,
the
but.
whole
I remember
thing.
having a
I thought that there was a conversation at the meeting here.
We talked about natural gas here.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
did-
no,
But that
this-
wasn't-
That was like.
This is the one we had initially out there.
Oh, that was what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
That was.
Yeah. Over a year, I think, when we all met out at the treatment plant.
Yes, it was, yes.
Yeah.
When we were spitballing at $9 million.
So, yeah, I
Cause we talked about the generator, and I know we talked about LP versus
Right, yeah,
natural
yeah.
and what have you, and, yeah.
It just
Didn't-
never got
didn't-
pushed.
Gasner do a cost comparison? I could have swore he did a cost comparison to say if we went to natural gas and paid whatever for the installation. I mean, this would have been
I don't know,
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I remember that.
I thought he sat here and went through the,
He had an enormous price for well free.
right.
And then when I contacted the lead engineer, the price dropped dramatically, but it was still was more money than what Alex
Yeah, what-
reported
it-
here,
it-
so, you
It
know.
must have been going down and down.
Yeah.
To get that, so.
It's funny how that goes, but, you know.
I don't even remember what we paid for that.
But I do think there was some discussion initially, especially evolving around the generator. Because they wanted to,
I know Peeper Power, they were excited once they heard that was an option, because they said cost and availability, I guess.
yes, yeah, much more.
I'm not opposed to it, I'm just disappointed
Right.
again that,
And
okay, come
I'm
on, you're
the
our
same boat.
engineers and
They're not doing a very good job.
I just,
When
That's
do
the
they want to
impression I
start
got.
gosh.
ordering their stuff?
So all the submittals to order are in the next 2 months, basically. So it's,
Peeper, what Peeper made it sound like is they were gonna submit for both.
they're gonna get, yeah, quotes for both, and then just so we'll know for sure, I think by next month,
Right.
the pricing that would 100% be incurred.
Well, I think that this table has to know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you need to know the dollars and cents.
The
yeah.
dollar
Right.
amount that so it
Right.
makes it
Yeah.
make sense and worthwhile before we
And the
quit
dollar amount
reliant,
for
because
installing
right,
the
and,
natural.
That's the big ticket thing right now is,
Both
Yeah,
pieces of information, we can
Yeah,
deal with
that
that
was-
next month.
I mean,
That's-
we've been talking about running a line out there for 2 decades.
Yeah,
You know, that's all. I mean,
yeah.
we even talked about going down the rec trail and what have you too, you know, but then there'd be no potential for anybody to tie on to besides us. So.
Yeah.
You just swing out there.
that's a quicker run
Yeah.
from my house.
Run the next house and then run it down.
Well, ante up 60 grand, we'll make a deal with you.
We're paid right now.
All right.
Definitely worth
So-
your while if you can do it. If it makes sense dollar-wise, it doesn't put you too far behind the 8 ball, I can tell you by all means.
Yeah.
Jump for the natural.
We'll keep pushing to get official numbers. It was just kind of,
You lean on
time is,
the
I guess,
electricians and I'll go to,
I guess to clarify if it can be absorbed into the project
the
itself.
actual, the line itself, yeah. Yep, we will come much more prepared next month on that item. So.
they asked
then-
for this next one too. I
The
like-
next one they asked, at that meeting, we kinda told them for change orders, they requested how much lead time do we need. For a $5,000 change order, we told them 3 days, and for anything greater was 30 days so that we could bring it to the meeting. So that being said, I would ask to be approved personally, to be able to approve a change order within the project up to $5,000.
The
And that
reason,
goes both ways,
Yeah,
savings
go on
and,
both.
yeah,
obviously if there's a change order, there's most likely gonna be a savings too along the way.
there could be
Just,
savings ones and so,
Ideally to expedite the process of,
the 3-day thing rather than go, otherwise it's gonna be 30 days for, depending upon if it happens the day after our meeting, then either we call another meeting or we wait 30 days to get the change.
You're currently approved for 2,500.
right. To my knowledge.
Their recommendation was 5, cause that's
Yeah.
what they've experienced with.
That came from Bob and also,
Can someone educate me, how often do we have change orders that are, $5,000, 3 days, and then another 4 days later, we've got another one for another $5,000? Because all of a sudden, Alex, you're approving not $5,000,
You come
but
to the next meeting and have
$50,000.
$20,000 change.
Yes, and
That would also be, obviously, I think
That's
Alex is
just
smart enough to go.
Oh, indeed. I'm just asking
I've been 3, I
education-wise,
probably should be bringing
how
this.
often does it happen? I don't know. I've not been in on the,
Well,
I guess it depends on how good MSA is, which right now they're not very good.
not feeling real lucky.
there's another, Alex could give me a call and then
I could have Mac approve anything from 2,500 to 5,000, basically.
I'm not trying to limit you. I just
I'm
trying to be extremely
Yeah, for sure.
wise
No,
I've
for
run
the
the same
city.
thing as far as, yeah, you could do 5,000.
And for you.
5,000,
I mean-
5,000.
Well, it's, yeah.
Catches you in the shorts too at some point in
Right.
time. That's not where we wanna go.
Right.
No.
So,
So, I mean,
I think the biggest change order that you're gonna see is when we start digging between the plants and the building.
well,
Because there's a lot on
it's really easy to break $5,000 with this scope of a project.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, so I don't,
And the
Yeah.
30 days might not be realistic either, because it may be that you're having a meeting in 2 weeks,
right.
you know, so it's not.
Well,
And
and
we
I
apply
guess
that.
the thing is too, is if, I mean, you limit to 5,000, but then you limit the amount you can do in a month too.
Right, that's what I suggested, was putting a cap on how much, without.
Put a cap on how many you can do in a
How
month.
much you can do.
Nick brings up a valid point. They start digging out there, you may be calling an emergency meeting to get approval because 30 grand will be staring you in the face, not $5,000. So
because they can't find drawings,
But supposedly.
What was there?
You know, supposedly this should be built into this, that should be, like,
Should have been
problems
built
like
to the
that
spec.
should be built into this.
Yeah, they should have been built into
Which
it.
MSA also made clear during that discussion with the $5,000 that it is built in to find issues once we start digging, so.
That's the hope.
we're hoping there aren't too many changes and that aren't in our favor.
Well, you open things up, there might have to be a temporary fix until they can actually install stuff, you know. That's where you'd fall into those $5,000 expenditures or something like that. Have to Band-Aid something to get you through, to keep you up and running until they actually get the new facilities in place around it and whatever, so.
Or can there be some kind of email system too, where they reach out to you guys in an email and get a response quicker? I don't know, I'm just spitting.
Well, as far as, you
Respond
don't
to
want to
emails.
be out of compliance with, you have the whole, can you communicate with everybody else, but do not reply all, do not. You will be out of compliance and you will be in a meetings violation class for a few hours.
Straw polling, they call that straw polling.
Well, it's,
Or do a phone call per, like Alex would call, contact every commissioner
No,
separately?
same thing.
Really?
Yep, they fall in that same category.
You can-
I'm thinking if you wanted to keep Mac and myself in the loop, me from the construction end of things, I can probably help you out pretty much, you know, at least give me a heads up, so, you know, that kind of thing, but yeah, I can understand where they need some answers,
It's
you know,
just-
within a couple hours, not a couple days, not
You got
30
a whole-
days. or
A whole
whatever.
open, like, we have to do this.
Yeah.
And that did seem like a concern of theirs. was,
Yeah.
Yep.
like,
That's why they set that amount at
If there's a
5,000.
big decision that needs to make, you know, that sets them back, you know, a week possibly. So, I think the delay in changes also could also delay the prices in the end if this drags out too long, you know, but. I don't know.
I would make a motion to approve Alex to approve changes, minor changes during the wastewater treatment project upgrade. $5,000 not to exceed $10,000 in a month with the conversation or communication with the mayor and the council president.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Further, during the pre-construction meeting, they have started delivering equipment today, and pending the weather here, how much rain we get, they may start digging tomorrow or shortly thereafter, so we're gonna have a... No, yeah, it'll
Be tomorrow.
be a few days, but,
Next week.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's probably gonna be Monday, Tuesday at the
Yeah.
earliest.
so it sounds like they're gonna start excavation for the new ditch right away first. While, basically, that's something that we can do first while we're waiting for mechanicals and other equipment to be ordered. So that'll be the first part of the project going in.
Is the new ditch gonna be on the south side of the,
Gun range
The-
stand,
Yep,
a little shed that's up on the hill behind the plants.
oh, it's gonna be up on the hill?
yep,
Oh, I thought it was gonna be kind of
behind the tree line there.
Have we got that gun range issue all resolved?
As well as it can be, they're gonna stay north of the clubhouse there with everything they do. And, just try to give them enough space to do what they have to. That's all we can do.
And that's where we're pulling the temp service out.
Yeah.
Because they were asking, I'm like, the only good way of doing it would be at the gun range stand. They said that'd be a perfect spot, so.
Then, one more question that was asked by them, and I didn't wanna just say yes or no, just cause I know it could be a liability, but the contractor asked if we would be willing to let them have different construction workers park campers on site and just stay on site while they're working. And I didn't wanna say yes or no, because it's clearly a liability in sense that you're gonna have people on site 24 hours, you know, drinking beer in the camper after work or something, you know, I don't know if that's something I
It
would
was
say.
common at the time they built the plant.
Right, and they say it's still very common
That one
for these.
had his trailer outside the gate.
Yep,
There's room outside the gate, isn't there?
Well, I don't know myself. but
Well,
they got the
the
culvert.
hard part with that is there's no power there either. So they probably wanna be somewhere that they could plug in. So, I
I don't
don't
know where I tied them in that time.
Yeah.
I hooked those guys up, but maybe we set us something up temporary. That's how many years ago?
What type of liability issues do we have to worry about?
I don't know, as long as you're locking up the plant proper, but how they,
But then you can't lock the gate then, cause you're locking people
that's
inside.
true too, and then you got the open,
Right, they can't,
yeah, clarifier up on top and whatever, so
I didn't wanna tell them yes or no, cause it's,
you know, back then, we were building from scratch, there was no
Right, there was
facilities
nothing else there.
operating there, you know.
right.
But I guess it is a common thing, because these guys come from quite a ways away.
Well, they're gonna end up having their own lock on there.
Right.
Gate.
Yeah.
That was discussed.
So are they, but if they're still there, are they gonna even close the gate, cause it's just, you'd have to.
Nick, they could pick up power off that radio tower stack, we could throw another meter in there, and if their electrician could set up a temporary pole for their campers and stuff like that, and you'd have metering readily available there, and Nick wouldn't have to get involved with stringing extra stuff, just a matter of running a temporary cable off that meter stack inside the Verizon cage there, into our cage.
Outside the fence, but along the
I don't know
driveway
if
there?
outside the fence works better or not.
That would take away liability. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
I'd be
think
more
what I would
comfortable with that.
first do would be talk to MSA first and figure out the liability. If it's on the premises, because technically you own the premises as soon as you get off of W.
We're probably gonna want a water source too.
He was most concerned with power, yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking that's the avenue you could lead.
I don't think it's a lot, I think, the way it sounded, like 3 or 4.
Yep,
I mean, it's
set up that way.
There's on the Wild Goose Trail.
Well, and that's, I
Yeah,
suggested
that's
too.
awesome.
Wild Goose Park, yeah.
I
Yeah, we got the
suggested
park.
that, but
And they got water.
they don't have power at the Goose Park though,
Oh, there's no.
because they're all using campers. So power's the big one they're worried about. With water, I could send them up there to, yeah, you can shower at the Goose Park, you know, but.
I would make it known too, if you guys do decide on allowing them, is that they fix all landscaping along that driveway that they're parking along. Cause they're obviously
Right,
gonna
they're
be
driving
on
in
the
and out.
driveway, they're gonna
Yeah.
be on the grass.
Right.
I think that goes along with.
But, I mean, since it's technically outside of their
It's outside
area
of the scope of
scope,
work,
as
yeah.
the map shows the fence as being the area scope,
Yeah.
that it does come out to where they're parking their campers. I would figure out first liability through MSA and make sure that the company takes all responsibility.
How much, I know I'm not part of it, but how much would it cost to put, how hard would it put flower up on Wild Goose? Temporary.
Boy, you'd almost be better off hanging a tub on a pole up there. I don't wanna try and get out of that building, that would, I got a temporary service pole, we could plug in the ground, whatever, but I mean, for construction, but I'm still thinking they wanna be out there on site, closer
Yeah.
to the,
That was,
what's the matter with right inside the gate, right next to the Verizon tower? I mean, you got grass area there, right?
yeah, but then
Why
you're.
don't you just
But you're
line 'em-
inside the gate.
Inside the
Yeah,
gate.
you're
yeah.
inside the gate.
But that's kind of their construction area though, they're gonna be, that new ditch system's
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be
gonna
kind of
be
right there.
equipment in and out right there, but.
They were looking at a place to put, materials too.
Right.
They were looking inside or outside.
I would say inside the gate, the easiest is to go towards and just piggyback off the shooting range. Everything that's already gonna be put in there, you know, and it's flat, it's a good spot for them. It's just basically whether or not we're okay with them being inside the gate or not. That's kinda what it would come down to.
The materials that would just stack on that south side of that storage basin. Or all along that, I mean, you guys really don't go past that storage basin to the south, right?
Yeah, that's what it's all, like general materials is all going, yep, in a flat area
Yeah.
in front of the excess flow basins, yes. Yeah. So the field up around the shooting range is largely just gonna be for spoils, for digging, but they should have room to put campers up there if we would allow them to do so.
Or you can talk to our insurance company too. See how that goes. That'd be easy to talk, she's easy to talk to. I got a card. I'd figure that out first, I'd figure the liability out first.
Okay.
All right.
They can give us idea how many campers too, how many
Right,
people
like,
are
is
you
this gonna be
talking
a-
about, is this
Yeah.
something?
And my biggest concern is they're still gonna be using that rifle range up there too, and I don't
Right,
want,
so
I
then
don't
you
want
got
you
other
encompassing,
people's
I've
property.
already heard the concerns about that, of how close we're getting. About as much said, you guys are just a tenant up there, that was all treatment plant,
Yeah.
land before we put up the shooting range, but that's why I say having them down there by the gate closer and lining them up
That's
right
not-
alongside that west
Well-
fence would make more sense to me, you know.
That's the thing too, they only got two shooting scheduled.
Okay.
So, and you just don't take any more, that's, I don't know who
Dave
runs
was-
that, Dave runs it, but.
Dave
It's a
runs it, he was
moneymaker, you know.
pretty concerned about it,
Yeah,
so.
he was.
Yeah.
So I guess don't crowd that area up too much
That's
up there.
kinda- That's true.
Is there a site map available out in the wastewater?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like to see that sometime?
Yeah, oh yeah, we have.
Or add one in here or something?
312 pages, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want an overhead.
I want them
to see where stuff's gonna go.
I want a new 3D model is what I want.
Made with Legos.
And I want them to do the 3D model of the underneath too, so we know where everything
All the
is.
pipes and everything. Yeah.
Just print something off of Google Earth with a picture and then you can.
Well,
Yeah.
it's- we have,
They have them.
we have all different kinds, it's, I guess whether or not, if you want me to email it out, or I can bring it to a meeting, or you can just stop out, either way.
We could,
You don't have to email it,
we
but
could.
print one off and
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah.
So we know.
Yep.
As much as MSA is charging us for this,
Well-
we should just get one for free.
Well, that was, we had, that was the
Have
funny
them
thing, is you
print
only print it
one
out
out.
3
Print it out.
copies. Yeah.
There's the material we got from the meeting I brought in, and it's over here in my box if anybody wants to look at it. Some sort of an agenda for what they're doing when.
Subject to change, but
Yeah,
a loose schedule anyway.
yeah.
Okay. So, then, we got, Liz completed the last of her advanced operator certifications. And then also, Peggy has submitted and they have received her advanced operator certification as well, but they're just waiting to confirm whether or not her 4-year degree would count towards that certification or not. So I guess with already having received Liz's advanced certifications and then anticipating to receive Peggy's there soon, I'm going to ask that we promote both of them tentative to receiving the certification paperwork to advanced operator from their current place as basic operators. I was told that Pam needs this in minutes, so.
She would, but we don't have the time that we can give her that it becomes effective, and that's gonna be another issue to her.
Okay. Well, I can tell you Liz's can become effective as of, when did I get it? I emailed. I can get that date for
Last
you.
week.
It was last week, yeah. Liz's can be effective
Immediately?
immediately. Peggy's, I can't tell you.
She
when.
finally got it in now.
They have it.
The actual,
We've called them numerous times, but they had to forward it up the chain to actually look through her transcript to make sure it was relevant enough coursework. So it's just one hurdle after another. Worst,
So we can vote for Liz then.
Could we still vote for Peggy's and just say effective upon receipt of the certification with the DNR?
Why don't we wait till she gets it?
I think we'll just wait till she gets
And then
it.
go
Okay.
backwards.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at.
okay.
Not to be I mean, if he gets it and we have to,
That's just how it
if we have to backdate it or,
Back pay.
or, what,
Back pay.
That's right.
yeah, back pay or whatever, we can do that.
Yeah, so I would propose to upgrade Liz to an advanced operator.
I'll make the motion for that.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second to move Liz up, I suppose Elizabeth Condon, to move her up to advanced operator from basic, effective immediately. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Moving into projects update. I,
My computer keeps freezing on me and I cannot, okay, I'll go back to handwriting some more. It's gonna be fun minutes this year, this month, I mean.
I was off from the 7th to the 20th of this month due to the birth of my new son Mason. Thank you. During this time, both Peggy and Liz did an excellent job keeping up with daily tasks, maintenance, phone calls, and DNR reporting that had to be done during that time. I'm pleased to say that I did not come back to any major surprises or issues. Just minor phone calls, stuff that I had to do while I was off, but nothing too crazy. Then we also reposted the operator position here for the water and wastewater department. We did post to Indeed this time, and that has drawn up quite a few applicants. Many who are not necessarily qualified. So we're sorting through a lot of them, and then we're also getting some with relevant job history, but there's some gaps in job history where it may be relevant, but I won't get too into it. But,
Don't be afraid about gaps.
yeah.
I'm just saying, sometimes you
Especially
get
with the
a
way
really
that
good person, but that's good
things
reason
are.
why there's a gap.
Right. Yep, so I started and did one interview this past Friday. I'm gonna continue scheduling more interviews in the coming weeks here. I will say the individual that I interviewed Friday was, I believe would be a very good fit. He had previous work experience with a well driller or a well installer. So be it not utility experience, he's very familiar with mechanics and the plumbing sector of the work that we do. So I think he would be a good candidate, but there would also be the question of wages for him. So I'll continue interviewing to come up with the best fit candidate for the position at this time.
I have a question. One of the applicants that we just got, I think I forwarded yesterday, was the, already a wastewater operator in South Milwaukee, I believe it was. Is that somebody you're gonna check into, or know anything more about him?
We will, yeah.
Okay.
I guess, and I don't know if
You don't have to get the specifics.
no. So he was one where he didn't list references, but we personally have connections with both of the places that he worked. So we did call on his behalf, and basically they responded saying that they cannot talk about the situation.
And that's the South Milwaukee guy or Maple guy?
South Milwaukee.
And did you get approval from him to check references? Okay, because we have to do that.
Okay.
There's a form that has to get signed.
Right.
And
That's.
if they give you their permission.
Okay, so we'll call him in and do that. Yeah, so we're gonna continue interviewing for that. There's a lot of applicants don't include references, so I don't know if you asked for that during the first
In the
interview.
interview.
You can ask for them during the interview, yes.
Right.
If you decide you want to
Right.
give them more, if you want to go, I mean, you may find out in your interview you don't need to ask for
Don't need to go
references.
as
You
far.
already
Right,
find out what you
right.
want to know.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't think that's true, that, I think you can reach out to past employment and ask for
I mean,
attendance and stuff, and
it's
they don't have
listed.
to give you.
it's listed as previous experience, you would think you could.
I don't.
They
Yeah.
can tell you
Oh,
how
they-
long they've worked
Right,
there.
that's
They
what
cannot
that-
tell
right.
you
And that's what they did, so that you're
They-
fine.
Yeah.
how
They
long
just-
they,
That's
how,
all they did.
what
They
the,
can
what
ver-
the dynamic was of when they
That's
left,
fine.
or if they were disciplinary issues,
All
or
they
they
can do
were
is
or
verify
not.
that they
great
worked
employee
there.
that they employed during this period of time.
Without them giving you permission.
Yeah,
Right,
Um,
and that's all that, basically all that
That's-
happened, so.
You're fine.
yeah.
Like Dave says, ask them, would you hire them back? That'd be all you need to know.
Generally, they can't answer
They
that.
can't answer that either.
I use that term specifically.
The law now is
No
that
one
you
said
cannot
it.
answer that.
Such, you know, just pass one bad apple on to the next person.
Yeah.
Sad, really is.
So we're working through that.
Accountability is what it is.
Yeah, it was forwarded to an HR department, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they can do.
Yep.
Um,
That is what we're told to do when they call finance too.
Right.
I'd like to check on Joe Blow. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me send you to human resources.
So, and it's hard because I know I should do more interviews, but we're already busy too, so scheduling all these out, it's frustrating, especially for people that aren't necessarily, might have questionable resumes, but
But you have to
That's
remember
just the
that
job.
resumes don't always come across just like in an email. You
Right.
email somebody and they take it totally wrong with how it was. And it's not as cut and dried as that. A resume should state what is exactly happening. But I think that the person-to-person contact
Right,
is
interview
more
is
important, that
always-
you can get a vibe
A better judge.
on personality and if they're.
Don't lose
Or
hope,
not.
but welcome to management.
Yeah. We're trying.
You're doing good.
We are trying,
You're doing
that's
fine.
what I can say.
Good, keep going.
So, continuing, as we noted in the consumption and loss report, our I&I has been very high, to say the least. Our typical flow is between 500,000 and 600,000 gallons per day at the wastewater plant. We've been seeing, after each rainstorm, up to almost 1 million, and then it slowly has worked its way back down to 750,000. But then it rained again, we're up to almost 1 million again. So I would anticipate next month's number being closer to 40 or 50%, but we will see what we get. So from that, I'll say I've been investigating. We do have budgeted funds for $20,000 for I&I reduction that Peter put in to have 11 manholes rehabbed. I went through trying to confirm that these manholes were in fact in need of repair, and the scope of that work has changed dramatically, just in that a lot of them he wanted done don't need to get done compared to some of the other work. So I worked through with Northern Pipe to work out the most effective I&I reduction, where we could spend the money most effectively to get the most I&I reduction. But then there's also West North Street, I believe, is supposed to be getting paved this year. So there's a number of manholes along West North Street that need the chimneys rebuilt. And so a good amount of those funds wound up just going to manhole rehabilitation on North Street before that project. So I kind of was limited to how much I can do for I&I with that money, because a lot of it is kind of spent for manhole rehabilitation on those.
Do you know how much per manhole costs are coming out to for those?
It depends on how much work is done. The chimney repairs have been around $2,000. A lot of that, if I had more time and another operator, we could do ourselves.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is our new employee is a heck of an operator. And I don't know if we want to start tackling some of these more working together, but
I'd be more than willing to do so if we could save money and work through that. 'Cause that's $2,000 with them using our materials, so it's.
because, I don't know, to me, rebuilding a manhole chimney isn't that
No,
hard.
it's, you dig it up and you put new rings and seal it in and put the dirt back. So,
How does that impact your work?
Well, I mean, our scheduling's gonna change, but how many are we talking on West North?
4 or 5.
That's only got,
That's probably 2 days of work.
moving a week around, that's not like it's
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
detrimental. Yeah, right. No, I understand.
yeah, it's stuff that.
It just seems like,
That ROI thing.
right, it's just,
Yeah, I mean,
seems like a lot of money for,
yeah, because they're probably,
because material-wise, you're looking at a couple $100, you know?
it's not bad.
The DPW, when they rehabbed a bunch of the catch basins, they tried a plastic ring on the top rather than the concrete. I don't know if you guys are aware,
Yeah,
but
no,
the
that's-
plastic ring has worked real well.
Yeah, we were mostly gonna go
It's a
towards
really
the
good,
whole those.
it's easy installation on
Yeah,
those
right.
too, it's just a,
Yeah, they're about 30 or 40% more expensive, but in the long run, they're way easier to work with, so. Yeah, so we're gonna work on that. Yeah, I just wasn't sure, especially with the personnel at the DPW being, shifting as well, how much help we could do and how much of this work we could do ourselves. So, Northern Pipe will be starting that work.
When are they scheduled?
You already scheduled them to do
I
that?
signed it, but they're working in their schedule when they'll be doing it.
I guess, let's just keep it in mind for future.
Yeah. I mean, and so our sales rep for them is super easy to work with. If I decided to change that scope, if we just still wanted to do it, we can. Because he's confident in that, you know, we're just gonna shift these funds into a different repair with his company. So it's, like, he would be willing to work with us for that. So I guess we can talk about it. Yeah. Our pump for lift station 4 is in stock to be installed this Wednesday. It should have been installed much sooner, but FedEx lost a portion of the equipment and it had to be reordered again, so it is what it is. Train came to fix the makeup air unit for downstairs at the wastewater plant, which it had a faulty gas valve, which I wanted them to fix last fall, but things got delayed as well. With looking at the construction schedule, we'll still need that piece of equipment through next winter, so we had to get it done, so. Then United Electric came to repair the power issues at the compact plants. We wound up finding a circuit up there that we could just take power off of. It was a 3-hour job, and they just reran a couple of wires, and we're good to go. So, and that is all that I have.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Alex? If not, the president. I wish Nick good luck for tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Town Oak Grove, running for Town Oak Grove. That's all.
It's good to get young blood.
Don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Don't forget to vote. All right, Mr. Mayor.
I want to thank Cheryl for her time on the commission. This will be her last meeting.
Yes.
Due to circumstances beyond her control, I guess, or her desires, whatever. I want to thank you for your time here, Cheryl. I think you've contributed a lot to the commission here, and I was giving Dave the tentative nod, but I guess we'll see how it all shakes out with appointments and what have you, and the makeup of the council, so that's why he's sitting in here tonight. Other than that, want to wish everybody a happy Easter. See you next month.
Yes, thank you again. You went through some hard times.
It's been a pleasure to serve here. I've learned a lot.
It is, it's fun, I guess, is what I would say.
It's had its times.
A lot of hard decisions.
I guess the biggest thing for me is I really believe that, you know, God put me here for the time that He's had me here. And with things going on at home, it's time right now, so.
Thank you.
We wish you the best.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Any old business? Any new business? For the last time.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion by Cheryl, second by Bart to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. 7:18.